Texas Rangers debut last Sunday, John Burkett felt the butterflies of an apprentice, but performed like the master, skillfully painting the corners during the complete game shutout in Toronto.
When you're nervous, sometimes the adrenaline starts flowing and it makes your game a little bit better, and I think that was the case on Sunday against Toronto.
Tonight, the Rangers right-hander hopes to turn the Royals blue. It's baseball time in Texas. Friday night, the Rangers and the Royals play each other for the first time since May. And are the Rangers ever hot? They're going for a 7-game winning streak tonight. And have they ever done something in the American League West? Check this. A 7-game lead for the Rangers with 41 games to play in the 1996 season. Welcome to Lynn Television and Baseball from the Ballpark. Mark Holtz along with Tom Grieve. Nice to have you along tonight. The Rangers are really playing some great baseball, and one big shot in the arm for the pitching was John Burkett, and we will see him again tonight, Tom.
Well, the Rangers went out and improved their pitching with a trade for John Burkett, and it will be hard for him to top this performance. He had all 3 of his pitches working, outstanding fastball, a great changeup, and a very effective slider. He became the first pitcher in his Ranger debut since Fergie Jenkins to throw a shutout. It's going to be tough for him to top that performance, Mark.
Yes, he comes in here with a 0.00 ERA. Been a great week for the Rangers on the field. They have done about everything right. Pitching, defense, they've hit the ball, and Tom, a week to remember.
Really has been, Mark. When people around baseball think of the Rangers, they think of offense and outscoring their opponents. In the last 5 games, though, it's been pitching and defense. 1.20 ERA, outstanding work from the bullpen, good defense, 11 consecutive games without an error. They've scored some runs, Mark, but they say that pitching and defense wins pennants. If that's true, the Rangers have it going right now.
And tonight, Tom, they see a left-hander, Chris Haney, who's been tough on them, but they've been tough on lefties. The home debut of John Burkett coming up next on Lynn Television.
Lynn coverage of Rangers baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, with low fares on every seat of every flight everywhere it flies. Fly Southwest Airlines, celebrating 25 years of love. By your North Texas Coca-Cola bottler, official sponsor of the Texas Rangers. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
It is game number 122 of the year. We're down to only 41 games to play. The Rangers start with a 7-game lead, as you've just seen, in the American League Western Division. Here's a look at the lineup for Kansas City. On our Southwest Airlines board, Jose Offerman leads at first base. Tom Goodwin, a speedster, hits second and center field. Keith Lockhart hits third. He'll be at second base. Bob Hamlin, the big left-handed DH, batting fourth. Craig Paquette batting fifth at third base. Michael Tucker will hit sixth in left field. Mike Sweeney will bat seventh. He'll do the catching. Johnny Damon hitting eighth in right field. And David Howard bats number 9, and he'll be the shortstop. Bob Boone, the manager of this club, has scored 20 runs in their first innings over the last 9 games. They've won 2 out of 3 from Seattle. And so Boone has a running club that doesn't hit the long ball, and they'll play for 1 run. They've got the top 2 bunters for sacrifice hits in the league, so they'll move them over and most of the time play for 1. Behind John Burkett tonight, Greer in left, Buford will play center, Gonzalez in right, Hamilton's just been scratched, Palmer and Clark are the corners, Ellster and McLemore up the middle as the keystone, and Rodriguez will do the catching.
John Burkett will pitch, Mark. We've talked about his performance in Toronto. With Florida, he was 6-10. His ERA was 4.32. And with the Rangers, he's 1-0 with a big shutout. Really showed quickly why the Rangers wanted so badly to go out and make a trade for him.
And we're ready to roll as Offerman steps in. Jose Offerman hitting .289, playing at first base most of the year for the Royals. Picked up from the Dodgers as a shortstop, but wasn't playing very well there and moved on over. This is the first time, Tom, since May the 26th that these teams have played. Go to Kansas City on the next road trip. Here are the umpires for tonight's game. Rocky Rowe will be at the plate. Durwood Merrill is at first. And at the second base will be Dale Scott. At third base, Davy Phillips. Phillips is the crew chief. We're glad to have you along. A pretty night here. A bit overcast, but no rain in the immediate forecast. And it's cooled down a bit, Tom. This is 80-some degree weather, isn't it?
It's very comfortable. In fact, the last few games we've done have been beautiful weather.
Royals are here tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday. You see them all on television. Here's a strike, and Offerman now is at ball one and strike two. There's not much wind at the moment, rather still at the ballpark, and some nice conditions. The flags aren't blowing at all. Here's a nice look from over third base. Rangers trying for a 7-game winning streak, and the most over 500 they've been all year. They're 17 over right now, and they've never been 18 over at any time. And John Burkett's look, along with Johnny Oates, at Burkett in the ballpark for the first time. Oates a happy man. And here's John Burkett at 1-0. Big league life, 88 wins and 66 losses, so he's been a big winner. And the game in Toronto for him was just terrific. He lines up as a bowler almost, ready to come home. We mentioned that he has a sanctioned 300 games when he first pitched, and he proved it to us with his concentration just like a bowler.
I think the most impressive thing about John Burkett in Toronto, in addition to the stuff that he had good movement on his fastball, a sharp slider, and a very effective changeup, was the location of his pitches. When you combine the quality stuff, the assortment of pitches, with a pinpoint location, then you have a pretty good reason why he threw the shutout.
Offerman down the left side. Tarp sits out. They tried to refuel that thing, but the motor to get it back up sometimes doesn't work. And there is the Tarp at third. Offerman, Goodwin, and Lockhart are the three to face Burkett in the first inning. And that's high for a ball, so Burkett goes to 2-2. He gave up 6 hits in that game at Toronto. 5 of them were singles. 1 of them was a double. And this is a staff again that has 59 wins, and he's got one of them now. 59 of the 69 Ranger wins have been captured by their starting pitchers. So it's been a good rotation that has just changed. Kevin Gross did pitch out of the bullpen the other night for the first time. So they have a long man out there now who was a starter in Gross. Offerman making Burkett throw a lot of pitches here to the first batter of the game, and finally hits one fair. And McLemore, a great play, up and throwing, but he can't get it there in time. He slipped a little bit as he went to throw the ball, and he bounced it. It'll be an infield hit for Offerman, but great effort by McLemore as he flagged it to his backhand side. So Offerman with good speed is at first base. And Tom, here's an indicator you don't get much time against the running Royals.
Well, Offerman has done a great job for Bob Boone as a leadoff hitter. For the season, his on-base percentage is .377. He gave Burkett a tough at-bat right there. Made John throw 8 or 9 pitches. Ended up getting a sharp single. McLemore almost made a great play, but the ball was well hit.
Here's a shown bunt by Goodwin, and he takes ball one. They really bunt. They have some great speed, but they are the top of the bunting list. This man, Goodwin, has more sacrifice bunts than anyone else in the American League. He has 16. And that's a pretty good one that will finally flip foul on the dirt portion. Tom, does it look a little wet in the infield tonight?
Well, they put the water on the field before the game and water it down. It doesn't look to me like it's anything abnormal. We've talked before about a lot of teams and managers like to play for the big inning. Bob Boone likes to play for a run, likes to take advantage of his speed, and anytime a guy like Goodwin sacrifice bunts, he also has the chance to beat it out and force the infield into bad plays because of his speed. The other thing is Bob Boone is glad to get a run because his starting pitching has been doing so well. Over their last 17 games, the starters have an ERA of under 3. So his pitching has been very good, and he probably feels that his pitching can hold the other team, therefore play for a run here and a run there and try to win a low-scoring ball game.
Rodriguez sets up on the outside part of the plate. Rodriguez is the big neutralizer. We should mention right away that in case you haven't seen, the Royals do lead the major leagues in stolen bases. 154. Bob Boone is a run and bunt manager with the team that he has. They don't hit very many home runs, only 91. So they play for run. They move things around, put a lot of pressure on you defensively. There goes the runner. The pitch is bunted. Rodriguez tracks it. Tough play coming, and he got it there in time. Runner to third. Throw. He is out. Double play. Hello, dip. 2, 3, 5. And there are 2 up and 2 down. Talk about aggressive. They just ran themselves into a pair. But you've got to be ready for them, and boy, are the Rangers ever. Great play by Rodriguez. Alert play by Clark.
Well, this is a designed play to get the runner at first base to third base. It's a bunt. The runner is running, and he has every intention of going all the way to third base. There's not a catcher in baseball that can make the play that Pudge Rodriguez just made. He made it like a shortstop to get a sprinter like Goodwin, and then Will Clark got it all the way over to Dean Palmer to get another quick runner in Jose Offerman. That was a terrific play by the Rangers.
Nice going, Will Clark. Goodwin had 55 stolen bases, so you want him off base. Now Lockhart hitting at 290. And he hits a fly ball toward Damon Buford, who's coming on for it. He's there, and he makes the catch. What an inning. How many games have we been watching, and we finally see a 2-3-5 for a double play. Good start. Bottom of the first, 2 up for the Rangers. Just a moment. Back at the ballpark, here's the Southwest Airlines batting order for Johnny Oates. It'll be Mark McLemore leading off. McLemore at second base. Ivan Rodriguez will hit second. He will catch the game. Rusty Greer will be hitting third. Greer in left field. Juan Gonzalez will bat cleanup. He'll be in right. Will Clark hits fifth. He'll be at first base. Dean Palmer is hitting sixth to third. Mickey Tettleton batting seventh. He's the designated hitter. Batting number 8. Damon Buford in center field. Kevin Ellster bats ninth. He's the shortstop. Rudy Jaramillo, a happy man. The Rangers are hitting .294 against lefties. That leads the American League. They are second overall in hitting at .291. Rudy Jaramillo, the batting coach of the Rangers out of Oak Cliff, Texas. Here is Mark McLemore to lead off the inning, batting at .295 with 4 homers and 35 runs batted in. Behind the lefty, it'll be Tucker, Goodwin, and Damon. They can really go get it out there. Paquette, Howard, Lockhart, and Offerman the infield. And one of their newer people, their catcher Mike Sweeney, up from the minor leagues.
Chris Haney on the season is 9-10. He's had a couple of streaks this year. He got off to a bad streak. He's been on a bad streak in his last 5 games. As a matter of fact, he's 0-4 with a 782 earned run average in his last 5 games. In the middle, though, he pitched very well. He can be tough. He pitched a good game in his last outing at California. He won 18-3. He walks McLemore, which is very unusual. He's only walked about 2 batters per 9 innings. So he's a control pitcher. He's not overpowering. Hasn't been pitching very well lately until his last start at California.
Well, a walk for Mack, and that will now bring up Pudge Rodriguez. The Ranger lineup was changed about a half hour before the game as Daryl Hamilton, who has been superb so far offensively and defensively for the Rangers, came up with apparent food poisoning today, and that can really set you down. And it sat him down. So that'll bring up Rodriguez as McLemore leads off, and Buford was inserted in center field hitting number 8. Pudge hitting at .322. Chris Haney with a breaking ball, backdoor, and he missed it low. Ball 1. Haney 9-10, 1-1 against the Rangers with a very smart 108 ERA in his 2 starts. He was injured last year, had a disc problem, but he is a crafty one, and the Rangers have seen quite a good deal of him. Rodriguez hits him pretty well, 6 for 18. And a chop foul. We should go back to that double play for just a moment. The 2-3-5, Tom. How many games have we seen, and when's the last time we saw that on the bunt? And as you mentioned, there aren't many catchers that could make that play.
Well, again, it was a designed play, evidently, by Bob Boone, with a good runner, Offerman at first, a sprinter at bat in Goodwin. He made a nice bunt. Pitcher Burkett couldn't make the play, but Rodriguez pounced on it, throwing against his body going towards second base, just nipped Goodwin at first base, and then Will Clark made a nice accurate throw to Dean Palmer to get Offerman at third base. Very good execution by a team in the Rangers who hasn't made an error in the last 11 games. So that defense is really shining through lately.
American League record is 14 by the 91 Angels, so they're 3 away by Sunday if they don't make an error. And those things shouldn't bother them if they should make an error, because they're playing so well. You're going to make an error, but if they do get through the weekend without one, they will match the Angels and the American League record of 14 games. There's McLemore at first. McLemore does run a bit, and they like to hit and run with Pudge. Rodriguez, 154 hits, 7th in the league, and he tops the ball, and he chipped his bat. So Pudge going back after, or no, he's not. Looked like he was for a moment. 88 runs scored by Rodriguez. That's number 9 in the league. So he's up in a whole bunch of categories. Here he is against the Royals this year. Rangers have won 4 and lost 3 against him. This is the 8th game. They'll see him here and next week in Kansas City. 1-2. Hop to deep third, backing is Paquette. He'll go to second for the fielder's choice there on the sliding McLemore. 1 out, 1 on, and Rusty Greer due up. Let's go out and join John Radigan in center field. John, where are you?
Mark, I don't have to tell you I'm out in center field. That's where I start every game, but I tell you what, with Chris Haney, the object of the game is to throw strikes, and Chris Haney throws strikes. Evidenced by the fact that he has 197 hits. He's allowed 197 hits. Second in the American League. He has allowed 69 extra base hits. That's third in the American League. Now, on the positive side, he has allowed only 2 walks per 9 innings. So the Rangers will get some base runners, but if they get them, they're going to get them the old-fashioned way. They're going to have to earn them. There we go with Haney starting one right now. Back to you guys.
All right, and Rusty Greer, first ball hitting, bounces one through on the right side, and there'll be runners on the corners as Greer in a terrific streak. He's 10th in the league in hitting as the game starts. And he's 1 for 1 as he hits a ground ball through, and that'll move Rodriguez over to third. And there's runners on the corners. Rangers have been starting quickly these days, and here's another quick start for him off the bat of Greer.
Rodriguez going all the way. Damon comes up throwing in right field. But one of the things Rodriguez has really done this year, since Johnny Oates batted him in the second spot, is really concentrate on his base running. He's gone first to third. He's scored from second on base hits. He's scored from first on doubles. And it's surprising to see a catcher, Joe Girardi of the Yankees, is like this, who can hit at the top of the order and still run the bases effectively.
So now Juan Gonzalez. Rangers trying for their 70th win of the year tonight. Start with runners on the corners and 1 out in the first inning against Chris Haney. Gonzalez has 3 hits off a Haney lifetime, 2 of them home runs, and a foul for strike 1. John Burkett had a 3 up and 3 down first inning. In case you're late in joining us, despite an infield hit by Offerman, Rangers on a bunt turned to double play. The Royals have the top 2 sacrifice bunt men in the American League, so you're going to see that all weekend. Now the Rangers try to get to their power. Gonzalez is 5th in home runs at 34, and he's 4th in RBIs in the league at 104. Rocky Rowe calls it a strike, and it's 0-2 on Gonzalez. Against lefties, Juan is the best in the league, .439. He's got 16 home runs and a .439 average against left-handed pitching.
The other thing to add to those stats, all that occurred in less than 100 at-bats.
That is amazing. And he has been healthy. Boy, people say, well, what's going on with this team? Well, there is good pitching, and it is deeper. And they do have the guys in the bullpen, and they haven't dropped the ball. But Juan Gonzalez and Dean Palmer are healthy. They may be the 2 biggest reasons. They've played just about all year long. Where would they be without Palmer at third every day And where would they be without Juan Gonzalez hitting cleanup every day?
Well, we know where they were last year without Palmer at third every day, and I'm not saying that's the only reason why, but it was a big reason why.
Yeah, don't forget those reasons. 0-2. There are a lot of reasons. There's a changeup by Haney, 1 and 2.
When you win, it's generally because you've either got a superb bench that steps in to take the place of the injured players, or you've stayed healthy. And you don't have to apologize to anybody because you win and stay healthy. That's how it happens most of the time.
And if there was a team that was due to have a good health year, this was
exactly
the Rangers.
That's why you don't really want to hear someone say, well, Seattle would be in first place if Randy Johnson and Ken Griffey and Edgar Martinez didn't get hurt. Well, that could be true in a number of years with a number of teams. That's baseball. That's the way it goes. The Rangers can't be accountable because they've been healthy this year.
And this man is now 9th in the league with average. So he's not only been hitting for the home runs and runs batted in, the slugging percentage and on base, but the average has been there for him. Haney checks in at first. Rangers have the corners covered here. McLemore walked. Rodriguez hit into a fielder's choice. Third to second. And then Greer single to right. In scoring position, he's got 68 runs batted in this year. 1-2 the count with Clark on deck. And another little flare back to the right side. Offerman is over. He might have a play on this one, and he does. And Gonzalez is out. Big out. Juan had a very tough time getting around on Haney for some reason, Tom.
Well, actually, he threw him a lot of slow pitches low and away, and he hit him right off the end of the bat. He was actually a little bit out in front of that last pitch. He reached for it, but just tipped it off the end of the bat and popped it up to first base. Haney depends on changing speeds. Throws a lot of slow pitches. There's a pitch down and away. Juan just gets underneath it a little bit.
So now, Will Clark. Breaking ball away. Well, he looks like he is soft tossing everything, doesn't he?
Well, he's not a hard thrower. He depends on good control. He'll mix in a curveball, a changeup. And he has to have command of his fastball. He has to be able to throw the fastball in to the right-hand hitters effectively so that he can get them out away.
Here's a little ground ball to short. They should score a run. If they can get it out at first base, they won't, and they do. So a little ground ball that looked like it might be slower than it was, but Howard gets there, and that's the inning. No score after one. Glad to have you on the Lynn Television Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Texas Rangers Baseball Club and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, recablecast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Texas Rangers Baseball Club is prohibited.
And it's a nice night for baseball as we join you again from the ballpark. Mark Holtz with Tom Grieve. We go to the second inning. Partly cloudy, but right now no rain in the immediate area, and it's cooled off quite a bit here. Rangers leave 2 in the first inning. Burkett goes to work on Big Bob Hamlin as we start the second inning. Hamlin, Paquette, and Tucker for you. Hamlin now hitting at .253, 7 homers and 33 runs batted in. He's had a couple of tough years. 168 last year. He was the American League Rookie of the Year with 24 home runs back in 1994. It's a Kansas City rookie home run record. There he is against the Rangers this year. First time through for Burkett for most of these players. Not too many of them over in the National League. Offerman was. But that's about it. 2-1. Burkett now has 10 shutout innings as a Ranger. He is to the point of being rather fantastic, Tom.
He's been very effective so far,
He has been
Mark.
very effective. Either take Tom's very effective or my fantastic, and somewhere in between maybe. But Dick Bosman says, I like this guy. He doesn't give up runs. Hasn't to this point. All 6 wins in this winning streak, by the way, are by the starters. The 6 starters have the wins. And right now, Ranger pitching, and you like this, Mr. Greaves, 6 runs in 45 innings by the Ranger pitchers. That's amazing.
That is.
I can even figure out the earned run average on that if you give me time. He's out. Started to first, but Rocky Rowe says wrong way, Bob.
One of those where you're pretty sure it's a strike, but you might as well try to get to first base. That was a good changeup, dropped right in there.
Look at Hamlin.
Watch it go right over his knees, or barely over his knees.
Adios.
And ends up a little bit low where he caught it, but that was one of those knee-high strikes. Great pitcher's pitch. Tough pitch to hit if you're the hitter.
Bob Hamlin was fooling right there, Tom.
He was trying to trick the umpire.
He was
nice
trying
try.
to trick Rocky Rowe right there. Here is Paquette, 253. Rocky says, hey, it's August 16th. I'm not getting tricked. Paquette, 17 home runs. He's had a good year. The ERA for the Rangers in their last 45 innings is 0.83. 0.83 for these folks, plus Russell in between. To your left, that was Bobby Witt. Here's a ball, and it's 1-2 to Paquette. My goodness, the Ranger pitching has been superb. Their ERA is now 5th in the league at 4.71. This is grounded up the middle and a base hit for Paquette. So a 1-out single, and up will come Mr. Tucker. John Burkett talked to Tom Grieve about the advantage of either the pitcher or the batter the first time you see him.
I think it probably is a little advantage to a pitcher, you know, because I know it's coming, and I know what I want to do, but the hitter sometimes they'll walk in there into the box, and if they don't know you, they've got to kind of take a look at a couple pitches to get used to you, and by that time you might be ahead 0-1, 0-2. So I think it is somewhat of an advantage for the pitcher.
And now he will get to take the first look at Tucker. And he misses low, ball 1. So Michael Tucker, the left fielder, is up. 247 with 10 homers, 48 runs batted, and they have only 91 home runs for the year, but they make up with it with 154 stolen bases. So they will score some runs, but they don't hit very many home runs. 1-0. And a little flare foul. Palmer chasing, but can't catch that. So the count at a ball and a strike. No score in the first inning. Palmer a throw into the stands. It's a little short, but they'll go get it. And John Burkett strolls the mound at the ballpark. He had a double play to help him in the first inning on the attempted sacrifice bunt. Good one thrown out on a great pick. Sidearm throw by Rodriguez at first. The runner who was going to second tried to go to third. Offerman was thrown out. The Rangers turned 2. So the combination Rodriguez and Clark has done a terrific job already in the ballgame. Will Clark back, playing his way back into the shape that he wants to be in. And now Michael Tucker back to the plate. The Royals are the 13th team in home runs. They are not last. Minnesota has hit 90, and the Royals have hit 91. So they're 1 ahead of Minnesota. But they are the only 2 teams under 100. This is a strike. Fastball right there. Tucker at ball 1 and strike 2. Royals 12th in hitting, 3rd in ERA, a 4.55 ERA. So pitching and speed is what they count on. They have a great running outfield. This is one of the runners right here, and now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rangers looking for 2.
Burkett is not getting some of the pitches he got in Toronto. There was an outside pitch to the last hitter, Paquette, that was called a ball, and that pitch on the inside corner was called a ball. Both of them look like pretty good pitches, and in Toronto they were strikes.
Sinker down. That does make a difference, doesn't it? Who's behind the plate? Durwood Merrill at first base out of Hooks, Texas, has a wide strike zone. Rocky Rowe can be really tight. There's Durwood. He'll be at the plate tomorrow night. A little wider strike zone, reputation-wise, than Rocky Rowe. In Toronto, Chuck Merriweather was the umpire for John Burkett, known as a pitcher's umpire. fouled at the plate, 3-2. Roger Craig, basically, I guess, responsible for Burkett's split finger pitch, Tom, or forkball, as part of the Giants. Everyone out there threw it.
Everyone threw it. I'm not positive that that's what Burkett throws. Forgot to ask him when I was talking to him what type of changeup that is. It's a very effective changeup. It doesn't, the bottom doesn't drop out of it like a lot of times it does with a split finger pitch. It's very effective because of the change of speed.
Might be a variation of it.
But I'm not sure if it's I don't know that it's a split finger pitch.
Tucker has walked. He's at first base. Paquette moves ahead to second. And then Sweeney coming up. So a couple of walks by pitchers who don't usually walk very many, and Rocky Road does have a tight zone. Haney, 37 walks in 166 innings, walked the leadoff man. And now Tucker, the third man up here, the second walk by Burkett. So again, they don't walk very many. That's only the second walk that he's had in now 10 1/3 innings. So here is Sweeney, one of their new catchers. We have some new folks on this club. 250 average. Sweeney playing in only his 21st game. He's had only 64 at bats. Strike. This team has played very well. The Royals started at 6-16 and have been above 500 since that point, but they got off to a terrible start. Bob Boone changed some faces. They did hang on to Apier, as everyone knows. And all of a sudden, speed game and the pitching came around, and they started to win, and they've done quite well. They have won 9 of their last 14. They're a good road club. They're better on the road than at home. They're 500 on the road, 8 under at home. So Rangers will have their hands full with this club. There's a foul back on the right side. Sweeney has just turned 23 years old. 10th round draft pick down in 1991 by Kansas City. So one of their young players coming along. Ontario, California, his home. Oh, and 2. Damon and Howard are hitting 8th and 9th. Who up next unless Burkett can get out of this. And he misses a little wide. Well, you're right, Tom. That would have been close to being called a strike on Sunday, but not on Friday.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that one umpire is good and one umpire is bad, but logically speaking, all the umpires have a slightly different strike zone. Some umpires, not necessarily on purpose, tend to favor the hitter or the pitcher. And in Burkett's last game, he was getting a lot of those calls.
There's a high drive down the right field line, slicing toward the pole, and it will go foul. That one almost wrapped around it for a moment. So we are at 1 ball and 2 strikes. A slow second inning for John Burkett, who usually pitches very quickly, except he does then all of a sudden change everything with men on base. He really goes into the slow mode. Paquette is at second. Tucker is at first. And again, we're at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Burkett to Sweeney to Palmer. Juggles it, goes to second, still 1. The throw to first. In time dip, and the inning is over. Another double play. Palmer with a juggle and a 5-4-3. No problem. We go to the bottom of the second inning. No score. John Burkett has now pitched 11 scoreless innings as a Ranger. A highlight of any Ranger broadcast is Tom's take. So, Tom, take it.
Okay, Mark. One of the things that occurs between a hitter and a pitcher is the guessing game of location. Here, Burkett just misses with a fastball on the outside corner. With the next pitch, Paquette guesses correctly on a fastball away and hits it up the middle. Burkett's strength is to be able to move his fastball in and out. And on that particular pitch, Paquette guessed right with the fastball on the outside corner.
And it looked like it was just a little bit closer. He has that kind of pinpoint control.
just a little bit closer, and
That's
that was
amazing.
one of those situations where if Burkett had come inside with his fastball, Paquette would have been leaning out over the plate and probably had to take it for strike 3. But that's part of the guessing game that goes on between the pitcher and the hitter.
And there is John Burkett, who has now gone for 11 innings, or John Burkett, without giving up a run. Burkett now 7-10 when he came over, and now 1-0 here. Here's a hopper by Palmer up the middle, and the throw by Howard is just in time. Some close plays at first. That was a very close play on the double play by Sweeney. And Andrews and Burkett got the call, and here Heaney and the Royals get the call as this is close at first. But Howard has a pretty good gun.
Howard has played very well defensively against the Rangers this year. He shows nice range to get to that ball, and then a strong arm to be able to throw it going to his left sidearm and get it there just in time to nip Palmer.
So with 1 out, here's Mickey Tettleton, and Mickey is getting out. And there is a strike. Tettleton 8 for his last 17 now. He's out of the doldrums of some back stiffness, playing on the torn cartilage in the left knee. 18 home runs, driving home a few during this homestand. And Heaney had a ball and a strike. He had 2 RBIs against the Tigers on Tuesday. Heaney on the 1-1. Tettleton is 6 for 14 against Heaney. And if you're just joining us, Daryl Hamilton was scratched due to food poisoning. They think he'll be okay. That doesn't feel very good, though, in case you've never had it. And he's got great stomach pain. So he has been sidelined. Hamilton had been rolling along. There were some very nice articles on Daryl during the off day. What a key man he has been for the Rangers. Hasn't made an error. But tonight he's scratched early. McLemore moves up, and Buford goes to center. Buford is the on-deck hitter. There's Damon Buford, who's hitting 8th and filling in tonight for Daryl Hamilton. 1 out, 2nd inning, and no score. And that's cued off the end of the bat. Count evens at 2. I do not remember a night that has started so still with the wind. There doesn't seem to be any movement from the flags at all at the moment. This is the wind velocity checker, and it's not even moving. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen that. And it's like it's 0. And Tettleton comes up with a 0 against Heaney on a big swing, and there are 2 out. So the crafty left-hander sits him down.
Catcher sets up low and away, and Heaney hits his glove just a little bit lower than an actual strike, but Mickey can't lay off it. Good pitcher's pitch. Tough pitch to lay off of when you've got 2 strikes on you.
Heaney out of the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, Montreal draft pick, 2nd round, 1990. Came over from the Expos in 92. We have a loose baseball in center field that somebody's going to go back and pick up. And Goodwin gives it for a souvenir. I think the little kid dropped it over. She says,
I want to play ball too.
Says you can't throw a live baseball out there. They'll get confused.
He doesn't understand that.
Says, look, he looks like Babe Ruth the way he's wearing his hat. Look at that. Isn't that the way the Babe used to wear it? Cocked to one side. A budding Ruth. Maybe it was just the movie version. Maybe it was just William Bendix and the Babe.
Did you ever see that movie?
I did. I thought it was a good Ruth. A little overweight, but
I liked him. Better than John Goodman.
Yeah, John Goodman is a little bit too much. Buford waiting here, and he hits a base ball to left. Tucker on the hop throws it back in. Line drive, and Buford is on, as Buford hitting .276 into his 69th game of the year. Your friendly Dodge dealer presents today's Dodge leaderboard, and it is the American League team ERA. The Royals are 3rd, the Rangers are 5th. The White Sox at a .440 lead it, so those look pretty high, but welcome to baseball 1996. Royals living on good pitching most of their way. There's John Burkett, who again has 11 innings of baseball for the Rangers without a run against him. And at the moment, in those 11 innings, he has given up 8 hits, 7 of them singles. Kevin Ellster batting at .260 as he steps in. There's the lead for Buford at first. Rangers might run a little bit with Buford. 1 ball outside. Buford on the base paths this year is 8 for 12. Ellster in a 3 for 30 right now, but look at those power numbers. 19 home runs and 79 runs batted in. He had some of the longer outs we've seen a couple of nights ago. This is a fair ball on the left field line. Buford can motor. He's to second. Buford on his way to third. They're going to try to score him. The ball is still down the line. 1-0 Texas. The ball got stuck down the line, did not ricochet to Tucker. Nobody touched it, and Buford scores from first on a double. Tucker thinking it would bounce out of the corner, and it never did. The short corner, and Ellster has RBI 80. And the Rangers have the lead.
Well, the Rangers get a little bit of a break on the lack of a bounce. You're right, Mark. Goodwin waits for this ball to carry him off the wall. Unfortunately, it hits one of the little nooks and crannies down near the scoreboard down the left field line, and Buford's able to come all the way around from first base and score. Big 2-out hit by Ellster, and a nice break for the Rangers. Tucker, excuse me, Mark, in left field. Goodwin's in center field. Sorry.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to wait for it to come out, and it just stuck under the clock. Nice placing of the clock.
Very nice, nicely placed double.
It's a home field advantage right there. It's stuck under the clock. Look at that. A little nook and cranny, as they say, and Ellster found it for a run batted in. Here now is McLemore batting in the leadoff spot in the game, but sometimes you only hit there once, and now he's up with 2 out and a runner at second base, as Kevin Ellster has 80 runs batted in. Almost all of them from the number 9 spot. There have been a few 8 and 7 slots in the order, but basically 9th. He's had a great year. McLemore at the plate. Rangers lead, trying for a 7-game winning streak. They lead Seattle by 7 games. The Mariners are on a 10-game road trip. They have lost 8 out of 9. They now have Mark Whitten, and they start their road trip in New York tonight. We'll catch up on them in a little bit. 1-2. 2-2. Well, the one thing you don't have to do right now is look over your shoulder, because there's 7 back, Tom. There's a little breathing room, quite honestly, here with 41 to play. It's certainly not over, and it's going to be a great race, and the Rangers have to go to Seattle, but this man has a little better breathing room after the last week.
Well, it's nice to have that breathing room, but Johnny's job, along with the coaching staff, and it shouldn't be a difficult job because he's got a team whose outlook is this way, not to look at the lead, but look at each game and how hard you need to play to win each game, regardless of what the lead is that you have. That's the way the outlook of the team has been all season long. They don't get too high, they don't get too low. They bear down and hustle every single game.
And Tom, it's better to be 7 in front than trying to catch up 7, I think.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But as soon as you start to feel comfortable with a lead, then you look back and see what happened to the Angels last year, and you can see what can happen.
No, I didn't say I feel comfortable. I'm just breathing easier, okay?
Well, some people would equate being comfortable with breathing easier.
Okay. Here's a ball that is dropped in deep short by Howard, and that'll be a base hit. I don't think he had a play on McLemore. That ball was cut by Howard. He was going to try to come to third base for Ellster, and the ball fell out. And Ellster was on the move. I would presume that's a hit.
Yeah, that's got to be a base hit. There's no chance to get the runner at first base.
And that's where the play has to be called from the official scorer's point of view.
And not much chance to get Ellster. I think even if he came up with this ball and threw it, Ellster still would have been safe at third base.
So an infield hit, and now Pudge Rodriguez. Pudge at 72 runs batted in. Ellster has more RBIs than Rodriguez. 80 to 72 right now. Pudge has had such a great year. This is not to take anything away from his year, but to point out how well Ellster is playing. It's
also a function of where they hit in the lineup. Rodriguez has batted second all year. so he doesn't hit with as many men in scoring position as Ellster does. Ellster has benefited and taken advantage of it.
Here's a drive to left. Tucker back and toward the line, but he's there and he makes the catch, and that'll be the inning. But Damon Buford's speed was rolling in the second. He scores from first on a double under the clock in left, and the Rangers lead 1-0. Now these messages.
Lynn coverage of Rangers baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody.
Another ominous sky out there beyond home plate. You see the dark patches as we are at sundown in Texas, which is usually a gorgeous sight. And here now is the man who has done some damage to the Rangers in his short career. As we focus in from center field, a good shot of what Damon Buford sees. This is Johnny Damon, hitting at .285 with 6 homers and 45 runs batted in. He's 8 for 20 against the Rangers this year, and this is a guy they don't get out much. He is 20 for 45 lifetime against Ranger pitching. When he came to the big leagues, he was right near Ranger time, and boy, he did a job. He's out here. Burkett paints the black part of the outside corner. Boy, gave him the outside corner there.
It's safe to say Johnny Damon won't go 20 for 45 if he sees these pitches again. This is called the backdoor slider, and it just comes in and hooks that outside corner after a pitch that was right on the inside corner. So that's Burkett at his best, nipping the inside, then the outside corner. And Johnny Damon is walking toward the dugout wondering exactly whether those pitches were strikes or not, but they look like good strikes on the corners from here.
David Howard is the hitter. This guy's, as we like to say, has great stuff, doesn't he? And he really moves the ball around. Howard at .229 with 4 homers, 38 runs batted in. He is second in sacrifice hits in the league to his teammate Goodwin. Goodwin has 16, Howard has 14. So these are the bunt along guys, hitting second and ninth in the order, but they are running 1-2 in the league. Oh, that's a nasty pitch to a left-handed batter. Down and in right on the shoe tops.
This is Burkett's slider. Starts off as a strike and disappears down low and in. Good sharp breaking pitch.
Not many people are going to hit that pitch, Tom.
No,
he keeps it there.
The only thing you can do is take it. It's not a strike, but it's just one of those pitches that looks like it's going to be a good pitch, and it's very deceptive because of how quickly and sharply it breaks.
1 out. Rangers lead 1-0. Ellster had a double with Buford aboard, and Buford, who was not supposed to start the game, did because Hamilton has food poisoning tonight, and the speed of Damon Buford, I doubt if anyone else on this club maybe could have scored. They don't want to run Hamilton too much because of the groin pull that he's had, and they might not have sent him. McLemore backs and gets the bounce and throws on to Clark, and there are 2 out. So there are 2 down in this 1-0 game in the third. Right now, let's go around the league for an update. Here's John Radigan.
The Mariners had to dig themselves out of a hole in New York. Down 3-1, Edgar Martinez lined it to left. The ball bounced off Gerald Williams. 2 runs score, and the score is tied at 3 in the 5th.
Wait a minute. Looks like the fix is on there.
That's catching a break right there.
Ooh, this is Howard, and he's come up lame at first base. Did it near the bag, and let's hope he's all right. He looks to be in a lot of pain. Howard just thrown out on a ball that hopped deep to McLemore, and he is coming off limping. So he is limping away. Back to New York for a second. Nice catch by Gerald Williams.
That had to go in the lights because Gerald Williams is a pretty good outfielder, and he didn't even look like he touched that ball with his glove. Looked like it hit him right in the chest.
That is a little scary when the ball is on top of you like that. Howard is back to the dugout. We wonder if he will be back in the game. Let's hope he's all right. Jose Offerman, who had an infield hit in the first inning and tried to go from first to third on a thrown out bunt at first and was a double play. It looked like he came down wrong on the bag.
couldn't really tell anything.
I couldn't either. Here's a high pop fly by Offerman to Damon Buford, and this inning is over. 1-2-3. Burkett rolls on. No one has scored off of him in 12 innings. 1-0 Texas. It is 1-0 Texas. We go to the bottom of the third. Here's where Howard got injured. Watch this. He has run it out. He's running by the coach, and watch his ankle. His ankle will turn over right there running by the coach.
There must be some kind of a groove right there in the grass that would cause his ankle to turn like that. It's like he almost stepped off the curb wrong.
Sprained right ankle, we would say right now. Randa at third has come in there, and Paquette has moved over to shortstop. So they move the third baseman over and bring in another third baseman. Here now is Rusty Greer, who hit a ground ball through on the right side in the first inning. Greer is batting in the 440s over his last 46 at bats. Single tonight. Greer, Gonzalez, and Clark in the Ranger third. The Rangers scored when Buford was on first with a single with 2 out, and Ellster hit one that stuck down the line, and Buford scored all the way. Here's that big breaking ball, and Rusty did not make up his mind until too late. He might have swung at that while it was already in the glove. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now we go to 2-2. Rangers after a 7-game winning streak tonight. This is their best winning streak since late May. We were talking about this the other day, that they've won 1, lost 1, lost a couple, won a couple, but never been able to put together a streak. Here it is, and it came at the right time. While the Mariners were losing 8 of their last 9, the Rangers fashioned a 6-game win streak and now have their biggest lead of the year at 7 games. 2 over since the All-Star break, 2 over in August. Full count. And Paquette, who's moved from third to short, throws him out 1 away. Coming up against the Royals on Sunday night at 7:05, it'll be Coca-Cola Vineyards Watch Night. The first 35,000 fans to the park with a paid admission get that digital sports watch courtesy of Vineyards and Coca-Cola. For all your ticket needs, call 273-5100 or stop by any Ticketmaster location in the Metroplex. Watch night Sunday night, and you can watch it on Lynn Television. All 3 games are televised. Then we're on to Cleveland and a road trip that goes Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City. The Rangers will be back on the road, and they're down to 40 games after tonight. There's a change-up breaking ball for ball 1. Haney against Burkett tonight. We are all of a sudden, Tom, getting well-pitched, tight games. Almost more than we are getting those big blowout, high-scoring games. Here's a shot way back to left field. You can kiss this one goodbye. Launched by Juan Gonzalez. Home run 35. Of the majestic variety.
Well, LeBron had an opportunity his first time up to drive in a run. He was up with men at first and third and 1 out and popped out. But he took matters into his own hands right here with an inside pitch. The catcher sets up inside. Haney threw it inside, but Juan was looking for it and hit a high, long home run.
Here now is Will Clark. That looked like one of Canseco's. Usually Juan's are like line shots that get out of here and break furniture. Canseco hit some of the high variety. That thing was way up there and just kept traveling. Looked like a golf ball for a while. 105 runs batted in for Gonzalez. If he gets 15 more and gets to 120, he will be the highest RBI man in a single season of Ranger baseball. And he is not the current record holder. Ruben Sierra is at 119. Juan is at a 118. Look at the Deacon. Deacon says, wow, he hit a ball that nice going. Will Clark to left center field. Good one on the run. Trying to close the gap. He dives. He can't get it. Clark around first base stumbled a little bit. He will hold up at second with a double. What's going on at first base tonight? guys turning their ankles over, and Clark turned the corner there and didn't go down, but he's all right at second base with a left center double. This outfield can really roll out there, and Goodwin, trying to close it down, just misses this ball.
Looked like it was going to hang up for Goodwin to make the catch. It did hang up, but it was tailing away from him toward left field, kind of slicing into the gap in left center, and Goodwin gave it a good shot but couldn't quite get to it.
Here now is Dean Palmer, who has bounced to short. And a hot shot that gets by Randa at third. Here comes Clark to third. They're going to hold him up as Tucker gets there quickly. That was a line shot through on the left side, and Clark does not look like he's feeling very well in the base paths down there at third. Not running very well, Tom.
Well, I don't think he had much chance to score on this ball. This ball is an absolute rocket. Palmer goes down and really smokes it. Randa comes into the game, and the first ball he sees is a one-hop shot. Luckily, he got out of the way of that ball.
Yeah, I don't think Will's at 100% at all. He's gotten it out a little bit on those legs, and that quad may still be bothering him.
Well, he's had the 3 disabled list trips this year, and it probably is a little too much to expect that his body would be feeling 100%, but he wants to be in there coming down the stretch, and Will Clark at less than 100% can still be a pretty positive thing for you.
Yes, it can. There's a pop fly to left. Tucker is there. Clark is tagging. This could be a challenge, and he is coming. Here is the throw to the plate. It'll bounce 3 times. He slides. He's safe. Not a real good throw and a gutsy move from Clark, who again, although not 100%, gets the job done. He came rambling down the line. Great slide, and he beat a throw that took a couple of bounces. They needed the perfect throw, and they didn't get it. Tetelin's 62nd run batted in.
This is one of those borderline fly balls as far as distance goes for a sacrifice fly. But with 1 out and now 2 with a catch, you've got to give it a shot. Clark gives it a shot, and it would have taken a perfect throw. It took a couple of bounces, but it bounced right straight to the catcher. Will's able to get in there. And one thing you know is Jerry Narron likes to send the runners, and there was no doubt he was going to send Will Clark. They're going to check to see if Will left too soon. But the third base umpire, Davey Phillips, says no, he didn't.
Did not.
Just look at Jerry Narron, who Mark likes to send the runners home.
Yes, he does. Aggressive style, and it's basically worked. Kept the defense on its toes. He's had a number thrown out at the plate, but it's been exciting. Here's Damon Buford, who singled in his first at bat. So Gonzalez has homered, his 35th. Clark has doubled. Palmer had a quick single where they held Clark at third, and then Tetelin on a sacrifice fly makes it 2-0. On the throw home, Palmer alertly went down to second base, and Buford hits one toward left center. Tucker on the run. He may not get there, and he doesn't. And another run is home, and Buford will stand at second with a stand-up RBI double. Alley ball for the Rangers in the inning, and they now lead 3-0.
Well, this is pretty much what we've seen all season long. When a Ranger regular comes out of the lineup, one of the extra guys steps in and gets the job done. Here's a night where Buford was not even in the starting lineup until Hamilton was scratched. He steps in, gets a base hit, scores a run in the second, and now a double to drive in a run in the third. Nice job by Damon Buford as a substitute player tonight for Daryl Hamilton.
It's his 16th run batted in of the year, and now here before Kevin Ellster will bat, we're going to have a trip to the mound. So a new trip. Four to nothing now. The Rangers have put together a big inning here, as they had 1 in the second and 3 in the third. So it is conference time at the mound. This is Rocky Rowe, the home plate umpire out of Eastern Michigan University, and he's one of the umpires that took some time off to lose some weight after the National League umpire, the tragedy happened with John McSherry, and he really looks great. We should commend him, Tom. Rocky Rowe, who was overweight, really looks trim, and he took immediate time off because he said, look, we just don't want another happenstance like this.
Well, you have to give him a lot of credit for doing that. Sometimes it takes a wake-up call, like the tragedy that befell John McSherry. for some people to do that, but to his credit, he did it. And now I'm sure he feels much better than he did before, and he's back in the swing of things.
And the bullpen gets going for Kansas City. Ellster is up. The Rangers have a 3-run inning and a 4-run game, and here's a foul back. The one problem the Royals have, they get too far behind. They don't have a great deal of big inning power. They're a stay close, pitch, run, and score a few at a time, but they don't hit the long ball, and they really have to scratch away for runs. So this is where you'd like to have them early.
And the thing the Rangers have to combat that speed on the bases is the ultimate weapon behind the plate in Pudge Rodriguez.
Laser beams are ready for this series, and Pudge really loves the challenge. This is the team that steals the most bases in the league. They're way out in front of Cleveland in the American League, and the Colorado Rockies are behind them in the National League. Here's Rodriguez. He's having a Ranger MVP type of year. 1-2 the count. Haney came in 2 starts against the Rangers, had a 1-1 record and a 1.08 ERA. So this is some major damage that the Rangers have done to the left-hander. He's been very tough on him most of the time, but again, this is his 3rd start this year against him. His Kansas City debut back in 1992 was a win over Texas in Kansas City. 1-5-2. Got him on a fastball there. And Ellster is out after an RBI double in the second. 3 runs for the Rangers. Home run for Gonzalez. Rangers lead 4-0 on the Lynn Rangers Television Network. Who's hot and who's not? And here's on the hot list Jim Thome. 8 RBIs and 31 at-bats, .355 batting average. Grissom of the Braves, .407 over his last number of at-bats. The Brewers have lost 9 games in a row, and the Rockies can't win at Joe Robbie in Florida. They have 10 consecutive losses down there. So those are the hot and not on this date, the 16th. And here's the leadoff hitter in the 4th. Good one who can run. You need him off base, and he is. 55 stolen bases, but McLemore throws him out here. Tom Goodwin is 0 for 2. He was the man who tried to bunt with Offerman at first in the 1st inning. Rodriguez just threw him out at first base on a fine play, and Offerman tried to go to 3rd in the bunt, and Clark threw over to 3rd, and Palmer tagged him out, and the Rangers had a double play. Here's Lockhart, who flied to center, and he slices to left. This is toward the corner, and it is foul. John Burkett sailing along as a Texas Ranger. This league can't be this easy, can it? For the National League that hard. No runs in 12 innings for Burkett as he shows up here in the 4th and now has 1 out. Hamlin will hit next. Fastball is a little wide. Ranger pitching combined in their last 47 innings have given up 6 runs. And here's a shot that's trouble for the Rangers down the right field line. Lockhart around first. It scrambles at the 325 sign. It went fair, even though it bounced foul at the pole. It had hit fair down the line. So it's a stand-up double for Lockhart. And now with 1 out, there's a runner at second base. And here's the ball pulled to right, and it'll hit fair right there, and then played well out of the corner by Gonzalez on a little bit of a tricky hop. So now Burkett's string with a runner in scoring position at second base and 1 out in the 4th in jeopardy. 28th double for Keith Lockhart. He's hitting 3rd with 4 home runs. Here's Hamlin, who has to have the fewest number of home runs, you would think, for a cleanup hitter. He has 7. He was called out on strikes tonight. Trying to get him going. This is power that they really need. And again, he went from 24 home runs his first year to 7 last year, and he's at 7 this year. I think that's one of the problems, Tom, that he just knows they want him to hit home runs, and
I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on him to hit home runs, but he's done it before. It should be something that he's able to do again. I know that he put on a lot of weight last year, but he's tried to trim down and be in good shape this year. That doesn't seem to be the problem, but he's just not hitting the ball out of the ballpark like he did a couple of years ago.
Just a little infield pop fly to Mark McLemore. 2 out, runner at second. Paquette due up. And now let's check in around the league for an update. Here's John.
The Yankees have retaken the lead in New York. Tino Martinez with the solid single to center against his old teammate. Derek Jeter scored. Would Cecil Fielder score from second? No. Yankees lead at 4-3.
Wow. I would get out of the way with him coming and go for the swipe tag.
Cecil was rambling home, wasn't he?
The ground was shaking. Felt it here. All over the Bronx. They said, what's this rumble? He was running with a smile on his face, wasn't he? He's a happy man. Here's Paquette, runner at second. And here's the throw, and you've got ball one.
He was running hard. He just wasn't going very fast.
That's right. He's running much harder than his legs were moving. Paquette now has some home runs. He has 17. But he's not a known power hitter. 15 from McFarland, and those are the leaders on the club that has 91. They only have 3 guys at double figures. Paquette at 17, McFarland at 15, and Tucker at 10. No wonder they run a lot. Most of their home runs come on the road, too. The Royals have 59 home runs on the road, only 32 in their home park, and they're not drawing very well. They are franchise troubled. They're averaging only 18,800. But they've got Kevin Apron. Ellster gets a knee high. This should be the inning, and Burkett holds on in a Ranger uniform. He has not given up a run in 13 innings as a Ranger. Texas leads 4-0. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be the head of the order, McLemore, Rodriguez, and Greer. Mac showed a bunt right there. He just don't bunt much for base hits. There's ball one. Mac has walked and had an infield hit. Rangers are leading this game 4-0, trying for their 7th consecutive win. And it's Randa at third, and Mac is an easy out. He was playing in for the bunt and a full chop, a full swing, and 1 out. Jose Offerman, the former Dodger down there, started at shortstop for the Royals, but too many errors. They moved him to first. It took the pressure off. Apparently, he's played well at first. He's gotten along very well defensively, and he's hit better. Here's Rodriguez with a fielder's choice at third and a fly to left. 0 for 2. Pudge all of a sudden in a 2 for 17. He's still hitting very well at 320, but over his last 17 at bats, he has 2 hits. But what a great season he has had. Who would you pick as a MVP for the Rangers? Would it be Rodriguez, Gonzalez, Rusty Greer, Daryl Hamilton? You've got a lot of people out here. Or would you go to the pitcher? Hot topic these days. But there are some candidates. And he certainly is one of them as an everyday player. 1 out in the 4th. Hot shot. Randa can't get this one. Base hit for Pudge. So now he's 3 for his last 18. And the hit leader for the Rangers is that's number 155. Ed Napoleon says hello at first base. And hit 155 right here for Rodriguez.
Pretty good pitch from Haney right on the inside corner. But Pudge has the quick bat. And although he didn't hit it right on the great part of the bat, he still hit it sharply by Randa for a base hit.
Talking with Offerman at first base, and now here's Rusty Greer, a single to right and a bounce to short. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Red Baron, he's had a great year. It sounds kind of redundant. Great year, but they have been to this point. This is a pop fly to Tucker, and Michael Tucker makes the catch too high. That'll bring up Juan Gonzalez. Gonzalez with 1 out in the 3rd, hitting number 35, and here she goes off of Haney. Look at the height on this thing. Way up there. And that is RBI number 105 for Gonzalez. That again was in the 3rd. Now we're back to live action where he's 1 for 2 tonight. Driving in a run every 3.5 at bats. That's the best in the American League. He is homering every approximately 10.5 at bats. And that doesn't lead the league, but it's rather close. And he hops one to short. Flagged by Paquette. Backhand toss. He still got him as Rodriguez falls over second base. He's okay. I think he just tripped over the bag. He would have been out either time. I think that is a fielder's choice. 6-4. He's all right. No runs on a hit through 4. 4-0 Texas. Now these messages from your local station.
A lot of those little pop-ups and weak ground balls because he pitches into the hitters so effectively. Hamlin did the same thing on a little pop-up to McLemore last inning. He hits them right off the fist with a lot of those pitches. Sliders sometimes to left-hand hitters, fastballs to right-hand hitters. Sweeney hit into a double play in the second inning. Sweeney at 246 on the season. 3 for his last 17. He struggled a little bit lately. Came up through the Royals farm system. 1 ball and 1 strike from Burkett. Sweeney hit his first home run Monday against Jamie Moyer in Seattle. It was his first home run, and it was a 3-run homer. Fouled away, strike 2. Sweeney only 22 years old. Had a little bit of time in Kansas City last year, although he only played in A-ball last year. Spent most of the time in Wilmington in the Carolina League. He hit .310 with 18 home runs at Class A ball. So his rise to the big leagues has been very swift. He played several years in the low minor leagues, but not much time at AA or AAA. Pitch down, ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Rangers lead 4-0. 4 runs on 9 hits. Kansas City no runs on 3 hits. Rangers have left 6. Royals have left 2. (3-2) pitch. Pop foul. This will go out of play down the left field line. Another one of those good pitches on the inside part of the plate by Burkett. Kansas City started out the season 6-16. But since that time, in their last 100 games, they've been 51-49. So they've played pretty good baseball for a long time. To give Bob Boone and his staff a lot of credit. They've gotten good pitching. Line to right field for a base hit. They don't have a lot of power, but they've got some speed. He's mixed and matches the lineups and takes advantage of what he has. Next TV game, Kansas City at Texas. That'll be tomorrow night at 7:30. Channel 5 in Dallas-Fort Worth and the Lynn Rangers Network. Kenny Hill for the Rangers and Tim Belcher for Kansas City. Tomorrow night, Kansas City at Texas at 7:30. Sweeney at first with a base hit with 1 out. That'll bring up the right fielder, Johnny Damon. A little bit low for ball 1. Damon, a terrific high school player from Florida. Looked after his junior year like he might be the first player picked in the whole draft, but he had a disappointing senior season and he fell all the way to the end of the first round. Kansas City had a first-round pick before him, then took Damon. And a lot of teams that passed him by wish they took him. Kansas City speaks very, very highly of this young man. Great speed. Looks like he can be a top-of-the-order hitter. Makes contact. And plays a pretty good outfield. Not a great thrower, but he can run them down in the outfield. Royals have nice speed in the outfield with Damon in right, Goodwin in center, and Tucker in left. Damon runs the count to 3 balls and no strikes against Burkett. There's a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. Damon at 284. 6 home runs and 45 runs driven in. 7 of those were in a game Saturday at California. A little bit outside. That's ball 4. That's Burkett's second walk. He's also struck out 2. And that will bring to the plate Joe Randa, the third baseman. Randa came in after David Howard twisted his ankle coming back to the dugout after making it out at first base. He ran hard to first base, and then as he jogged back near the coach's box, he twisted his ankle. Had to come out of the ball game, so Paquette moved over to shortstop, and Randa came in to play third base. Pudge Rodriguez is going to go talk things over with John Burkett. Burkett running into an uncharacteristic control problem. Walked Damon, and now he's behind 1-0 to Joe Randa. Kansas City is 12th in the league at hitting, 265, but they're 3rd in the league at pitching. Got an excellent starting pitching. In the last 17 games, their ERA is 2.74 for the starters, and as a staff, 3.27. And in 1996, if you can put together a string over 17 games like that, then you've done a great job of pitching. 2-0 now. Ball line fouled on the right field line sharply. 2 balls and 1 strike. Take a look at some of our Bud Light scores. Orioles winning the first game and ahead in the second game. Brewers finally winning a game, beating the White Sox. Tigers and the Indians tied in the 10th, 1-1. Angels win. Yankees leading the Mariners in the 6th, 4-3. Blue Jays 2, Twins 1. Burkett working slowly with men in scoring position, men on base. Sweeney at second, Damon at first. Fastball tailing in, fouled off. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's Bob Boone, the Kansas City manager. I'm sure Bob would like to have a little more power in his lineup.
Tom, pretty good for young players, though, isn't he? I guess a teacher type.
Well, this is kind of a season where Kansas City is trying to evaluate what they have. They've played a lot of the players, a number of different positions. They've batted at different spots in the lineup. Johnny Damon, I think, has hit every spot in the lineup at least once this season. Trying to make some decisions for the future. Strike 3. Outside corner. One of those fastballs that tails back just enough to get you at outside corner. And Randa is out number 2 in the 5th inning.
Well, this is that painting the corner that we've talked about. I mean, his control, not over the plate, but on the corners. It's a 17-inch wide plate, and he goes 2 inches on the left and 2 inches on the right in there. I mean, that's amazing control that this man has.
That's a tough pitch for the hitter. It looked outside, and it probably was, and then with that good movement, it came back on the outside corner about 2 or 3 inches with good tailing action. Good pitch by Burkett. There's a slider right down the middle to Offerman, and that's strike 1.
Does he remind you of Bob Tewksbury at all, Tom? Just
a little bit, in that they're both pitchers. They're not throwers. They have a game plan. They throw strikes. Burkett throws harder than Tewksbury. Tewksbury had the big kind of roundhouse curveball. There's one down the left field line. That's trouble. That could be extra bases. Sweeney scores. Foley's waving the runner home. Palmer safe at the plate. Damon slowed up at third. Tim Foley, the third base coach, kept waving him even though he slowed down. Rangers did not get the ball in quickly enough. And Damon scored 2. Offerman ends up at second base with a double.
Oh, that sneaky Tim Foley might have been screaming stop, stop, and Palmer, while he was waving him home, and Palmer took the ball, definitely thought the runner was holding at third, Finally, Clark got his attention and he threw home too late. But this is Foley waving him home.
Good job by Tim Foley. You have to give him credit. A lot of third base coaches, after Damon slowed down, would have said, okay, the heck with it, stay there. But Foley saw that they still had a chance to score him and knows that Damon can run very well. And he just keeps waving him on. There's Damon stopped at third, and Foley keeps waving him. And with Damon's great speed, he beats the throw from Palmer.
Well, they do have speed, don't they? They cover 90 feet better than any team in the game right now.
And they put a lot of pressure on the defense with that speed. McLemore tries to break behind Offerman at second base, but Offerman caught up with it. 2 outs, 1-1 to Goodwin. Goodwin hit into an unusual double play in the first inning, grounded out to second in the fourth. With Offerman at first, Goodwin bunted. Rodriguez made a great play out in front of the plate, nipped Goodwin at first base. Offerman running on the play, tried to get to third, and Will Clark gunned him down to Dean Palmer for a 2-3-5 double play. It's 4-2. Rangers lead the Royals. Offerman at second with 2 outs. Good slider on the inside corner. Goodwin swings and misses, and now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It was 13 2/3 scoreless innings for John Burkett at the start of his Ranger career. He has been scored upon. ERA is still pretty nice, though.
He'll take it. Trying to pitch out of this right now, trying to keep the score at 4-2.
As far as I know, everyone's been scored upon once in a while if you have about 20 innings in the big leagues.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that.
Everyone seems to have given up a run sometime in their life.
Fastball right down the middle. Goodwin slaps at it, fouls it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Goodwin has been a hot hitter in his last 6 games. He's hitting .364. He's stolen 5 bases. 16 for 16 in his last 16 steal attempts. Hasn't been thrown out. Hitting .280 on the season. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off again. This time in back of the Ranger dugout down the left field line. Tucker started the inning off by popping up to shortstop. Then Sweeney singled and Damon walked. Ran to then struck out, and with 2 outs, Offerman hit a ground ball right down the left field line to score Sweeney and Damon. And that's where we are right now. 2 outs with Offerman at second base. Fastball top toward Clark at first. Clark just gets there himself and nips the speedy Goodwin. Clark really didn't have time to shuffle it to Burkett and had to take it himself. But that is out number 3. The Royals score twice. They've cut the gap now to 4-2 after 4.5. Clark hitting a little over 200 since he came off the disabled list, but most of the average has come in the last few ball games. Will now 6 for his last 15. A couple doubles, a home run. Starting to swing the bat pretty well. His home run was a long high fly to right field. Had a couple line drive base hits to right field. Today he's 1 for 2. He grounded out to shortstop and then hit a double to left center field. And the ball pulled just foul at first base. Count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rangers coming in have won 6 straight. They're 8-6 in August. 18-16 since the All-Star break. Continue to have the second best record at home. They're now 41-23 at home and a game under 500 on the road. Big curveball. A little bit outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rangers over the last week and a half have been getting excellent pitching. There's a high fly down the first baseline. Offerman underneath it and makes the catch. He went to the fence just to make sure he got as far as he could, and then came back toward the field just a step to make the catch. Will Clark is out number 1. Good play by Offerman. You like to get there and then adjust rather than drift after it. A good look at Durwood Merrill, who puts everything he's got into that call and gets a pat on the back from the fans. Nice going, Durwood. Palmer fouls the first pitch off. Dino's 1 for 2. He grounded out to shortstop in the second and had a sharp base hit to left field in the third. And then came in and scored a run. Strike 2. Palmer in August has struggled. He's 9 for 52. He's seen his average in August go from 293 to 278. But he's hitting 279 with 27 home runs and 82 RBIs. Great shot to hit over 30 home runs and knock in 100 runs. Dino takes outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Palmer came into the game 2 for 19 off Haney. But even though Dino likes to hit off left-handed pitchers, he's had some trouble with Haney. Now 3 for 21. The Rangers as a team pretty much have struggled against Haney. Not too many guys have had a lot of success against him. Rodriguez and Tettleton and Gonzalez have had the most. Strike 3, fastball up and in. And before Mickey Tettleton hits, let's take this opportunity to go around the league with John Radigan.
It was a record-setting night in Yankee Stadium. Seattle held the record for the most people doing the Macarena. It was 37,000. A new record, but a new game, too. Mark Whitten with the 7th inning home run. 4-4 Yankees and Mariners now in the 7th.
Nice debut for Mark Whitten. Seattle just got him in a trade from the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves traded Mark Whitten so they could call up Andrew Jones, 19-year-old outfielder who started the year in A-ball, went from A to AA to AAA into the big leagues. Midway through the season, he played in the Class A All-Star game in California. And since that time, he's gone through AA pitching, AAA pitching, and now finds himself batting second for the Atlanta Braves in the pennant run. Probably the best young player in the minor leagues. That's Andrew Jones. Mark Whitten, in his first game with Seattle, has hit a home run to tie the ball game. Mickey Tettleton, with 2 outs now, runs the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mickey's 0 for 1. He struck out in the second, but then had a sacrifice fly in the third, a fly ball to left field that scored Will Clark. That's low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball toward third. Fair ball. Randa over to first base and Offerman. And Mickey Tettleton is out, and so are the Rangers. 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. But after 5, the Rangers lead the Royals 4-2. This is the Lynn Rangers Television Network.
And Durwood Merrill says, no, that's just called a bump. Clark thought it was an interference call. When he was going back, he ran to Hamlin.
This is not one you want to get into an argument over.
No.
Especially since he's already out. There's the minor collision.
Oh, he thought he was hitting the bat. He thought it was a karate chop to the right or something. He said, you see what he did. He might not be complaining. Going back, he had his elbow up just to get back. It looked like he clunked him in the back of the head.
Durwood has a good time umpiring, doesn't he?
I think you should.
He has fun.
He talks to the fans. He's out there talking to the players. Hey, this is baseball. There's no crying.
That's what Kevin Ellster said, remember?
Right.
This is just baseball. Relax,
baseball.
guys.
Look, this should be fun. This pennant race, pressure. That's why we're here, to play for some fun and for the top spot. Don't get nervous. This is fun time. 0-1. Nah, who was it we were talking to? He said it's too much of a business. I learned a lot. Ozzie Guillen said that too many people aren't having fun. got to be business sure because you get paid and you take it seriously and get in shape and do your job. But can you do it, please, with a smile on your face? 1-1. There's a strike, and it's now ball 1 and strike 2.
One thing Burkett had in his last game, in the complete game, was 138 pitches. That's the most pitches he's thrown this season. I think he's only thrown over 100 pitches in 9 or 10 of his starts. So he may be a little bit tired today. Johnny may have Cook up in the bullpen with that in mind, not wanting Burkett to go too far with his pitch total today. The bullpen has been pitching extremely well, and Johnny's not reluctant to go to them the way they're going right now.
Boz says, we doing okay, Johnny? What do you think? Boz is feeling pretty good these days. Here's a high pop-up. Ellster to shallow left center, and he wanders underneath the Texas sky and makes the catch. No runs, a walk, and the Rangers rampage. 4-2 to the bottom of the 6th. This is great. Just chew on this for a while and watch the ball game. Buford has singled and doubled. 4-2 Texas. Still a long way to go, but the Rangers gunning for their 7th straight win in New York. They're what, tied? Is that what that says?
4-4.
4-4 in the 8th. Seattle is starting a 10-game road trip in New York. The Rangers, of course, go to Cleveland next week, so everybody's got their little problems. The Rangers, of course, hit a streak late in September where they play 15 of 23 on the road. September 6th. Through the last 4 games of the year, the Rangers are playing 15 of 23 out of town. So this isn't going to be all that easy. This is a comebacker, and Buford is finally out at first base. 1-3.
You're talking about well-pitched games. What about Detroit and Cleveland today? 1-1 in the 12th at Cleveland.
How about them Tigers?
Boy, Buddy's getting some pretty good pitching.
Hey, really? I mean, this is going to be a team over the next year. Next year going to be pretty tough. Kevin Ellster tonight, a double for an RBI and a strikeout swinging, and he lofts one out of play. Ellster has 80 runs batted in. What a year he has had every day at shortstop. Benji Gill, I'm sure, will be here in September. Little backup help, but Elster's the man. We mentioned early in the year, hey, if he plays like this, he'll be there every day, and he's been there every day. You just don't take a bat like this and a shortstop like this out of the lineup when he's playing well. He has sprung a new career again. His brother, one of his biggest backers, and his agent. It's nice.
And a real Mark Holtz fan, too, by the way.
Is that why I like him?
Yes, that's why you like him.
Ellster is out here. 2 gone. He is his agent and worked it out, and he's happy that he's here. The Rangers' wives have teamed up with McCormick and Brookshire's to produce a cookbook highlighting favorite family recipes from Ranger players, managers, coaches, and staff. For information, call 273-5207. There's a limited number that are autographed. Also, aprons and spoons available. The proceeds, matter of fact, there is the cookbook right there, from the sale of Diamond Dining will benefit the Alliance for Children and Help USA. It will benefit, again, the Alliance for Children and Help USA. It is called Diamond Dining. And it's the favorite recipes of some of your favorite players. McLemore intent on bunting tonight. Tried to bunt for a base hit, and he's out on a Haney 1-3. Nothing for the Rangers in the 6th. They lead 4-2. This is the Lynn Television Network.
They're selling their cookbook, Diamond Dining. We've got Lori Vosberg.
Spaghetti with scallops.
Welcome back to the ballpark in Arlington, where the Texas Rangers' wives are selling their cookbook, Diamond Dining. We've got Lori Vosberg and Angie Stillwell. Lori, what's your favorite recipe out of here?
The Spanish fries.
And Angie, what's your favorite?
Spaghetti with scallops.
What a coincidence. It's their own recipes that they donated to the book, but they've told me I've got to work for my supper. I've got an apron, I've got a spoon, who knows what I'm going to whip up. But it all benefits the Alliance for Children, Child Help USA. I'll share this with you later, guys.
We'll take theirs, John. He's everywhere, isn't he?
Those 2 dishes sounded pretty good. But to get them to prepare that and bring it up here someday.
A sale at the ballpark. So it's for a great cause. So if you're coming to the ballpark, stop by and buy one of the cookbooks. This is Sweeney, then Damon, and then Randa here in the 7th inning. John Burkett has now given up 2 runs in a total of 15 innings. Sweeney has hit into a double play to Palmer at third and single to right. Tonight, Gonzalez is homered. Tettleton has a sacrifice fly. Buford has an RBI double. And Ellster has an RBI double. 3 of the 4 runs batted in for Texas are from the bottom 3 in the order. Tettleton, Buford, and Ellster. This is pretty low in the order for Tettleton, isn't it? 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember him hitting.
He hasn't hit 7th very often until this year.
Guy hitting 18 home runs. You got Ellster with 19 home runs, sitting 9th. What a lineup. This is Ellster. And there's an out. So 1 away in the 7th inning. Here's a look at our scoring summary for the night to catch you up completely. Buford scored on an Ellster double down the line that stuck underneath the clock for a while. 1-0 Texas. Juan Gonzalez, home run. Tettleton a sac fly. And then Buford an RBI double. 4-0 Rangers. Then that was cut in half. First runs off Burkett. Sweeney and Damon score on a Jose Offerman double down the left field line. So it's 4-2 in the 5th. And now we're in the 7th live with Burkett against Damon, and the score the same. Johnny Damon has struck out and walked. It's almost like we haven't played this team this year. Back from May 26th. Don't remember much about them, do you?
Not too much. I know we've got a 1-game lead on them in the Kansas City, Texas race.
Damon, only 22 years old, led the American Association last year. I beg your pardon, led Double-A, the Texas League Player of the Year in Wichita. He was actually a Double-A when he was called up. Hit .343, so it was Double-A in the Texas League that he led last year. And hit .282 in the big leagues, most of that against the Rangers.
He's been the player of the year in every league he's played in, I think. He played 2 years of A-ball, 1 low A, 1 high A. He's been among the top prospects in his league every step of the way.
Number 35 in the nation in '92. That's a 2nd-round pick. Orlando, Florida is home. Chops it 1 to left. Here comes Rusty Greer. It's right there, and there's out number 2. Boy, this defense is fine. They have not made an error in 11 games. This would be 12. We mentioned earlier the American League record is 14 games set by the Angels in '91. Rangers still have the fewest errors in the league. Mark McLemore playing well. Will Clark back at first base can pick it. Kevin Ellster, who, by the way, I just looked up his career high in RBIs, 55. And Palmer at third. Defense has been good in the infield. But Ellster has now 80 RBIs as of tonight. He is 25 better than his previous high with the Mets back when he was healthy in the mid-80s. 1-1. There are some guys, as always happens, are having career years. Hamilton's almost there. Ellster is there. Rodriguez is there. Gonzalez may be. Got to do that to win, and that's what's happening. Everything's kicking in with the health. The main concern, the Rangers haven't lost anyone for an extended period of time except Will Clark. Ball 1 and strike 2. And they have luckily been carried when Clark was on the DL by some other players. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 7th inning, 4-2 the Rangers lead. Try to win 7 in a row. At Ellster. Belt high, and this inning's over. Stretch time at the ballpark. Good news for the red team right now. Rangers lead 4-2 over Kansas City. And he's had some food poisoning earlier in the day. Not sure where we got it. Not sure we want to know, but he doesn't look like he's feeling very. It's in the 80s, and he's buckling up on the jacket right there. Buford has played well in his absence. We're in the bottom of the 7th. The Rangers lead 4-2, trying for 7 in a row. Rodriguez, Greer, and Gonzalez are up. Chris Haney, soft toss breaking ball for strike 1. Pudge tonight. 1 for 3. Now has 17 home runs, 72 runs batted in. Career highs and everything for Rodriguez. Well, the Rangers are after all kinds of team records, runs, home runs, average. When they get close, we'll knock them down for you. But this banner year at the moment is going to set some new records. But they should be offensively. The ball's jumping and teams are scoring, so there should be some offensive records involved. And there should be. This is belted pretty well, but in the park to right. And that is Damon back to the warning track, and he makes the catch, and there's one long out. So 1 away, and up will come Rusty Greer. Later on in tonight's game, we'll pick the player of the game. Be brought to you by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt out like Hoover. Nobody. Here's Rusty Greer. The Red Baron is single to right, bounce to short, and fly to left. And there's strike 1. Another well-pitched game. We were talking before, low-scoring games for the most part. Rangers in this homestand did win 7-0 over Detroit, and they won in Toronto 12-1. But outside of that, low-scoring for the most part, one-run games. John Burkett has been almost sensational, as he has given up a couple of runs tonight. But Burkett has given up 2 runs now in 16 innings. There he is. He is happy to be part of the race. 31 years old, the bowler, and a happy man to be here. This is an impressive go. And here's a race by Offerman. He beats Greer. 2 out for Gonzalez in the 7th inning, with the Rangers leading by 2. Look at Offerman run.
Offerman's really a guy playing out of position. He's come up as a shortstop, played some second base. There's some talk that they might play him a little bit at third base. But he's done a nice job as the leadoff hitter, but not what you'd normally see from a first baseman. He's not a power hitter. He gets on base at the top of the lineup. But Bob Boone is just trying to utilize to the best of his ability the talent that he has. And Offerman's done a nice job defensively at first base, which you would expect from a shortstop.
A little different limelight for Offerman from the pressure-packed Los Angeles microscope as a shortstop to Kansas City, where the team's down. They're drawing 18,000. They don't do too many games on television. They only televise some 50 games. Not the day-to-day atmosphere that you get in Los Angeles. Kansas City, a great place, of course, to live. Good folks, Midwest, and nice people to be around. And he's really kind of found himself there, Tom.
I would agree.
We like Kansas City, don't we?
I like Kansas City.
Good shoe store there. You'll like it.
I have to make my first appearance there. Heard you talk so much about it.
Dropping some. What are the places?
I love to go to Kansas City just to see that ballpark.
What does Cecil Fielder call money?
Bread?
No, he had some new name for meal money. We forget what it was. Here's a ball outside. Juan Gonzalez, a patient walk here. Look at this. Let's check these figures. Juan Gonzalez in the walk department has just walked for the 40th time. 40 walks, 58 strikeouts for Juan Gonzalez. 40 walks is pretty good for Juan. Starting to pitch around him, obviously, in some areas. But the most that he has ever walked in a Ranger uniform is 42 times in 1991. So a couple of more walks, and he's there. 42 is his walk high. And so this is it. getting close. And now Clark bounced to short, a double and a pop to first. Will now has 6 hits in his last 14 at bats.
Happy 97. He is in the George Sheps category. 2-1. We'll say hello to George while we're at it. He's taking it easy for about a month. And George, we hope you get better right away.
George is probably planning that 100th birthday party.
But, there's another one out there, George. Spry and young at 97, Harold Williams. From Jesse. 2-2 and a throw to first and a lob, and they have to make a play on him, and I guess they were. Happy 86th birthday tonight. Actually yesterday, but we weren't on yesterday, to Stella Spiegel of Hearst. So happy 86th to Stella Spiegel of Hearst, Texas. 2-2. Clark by the mound, but to second, an easy step for Paquette. And that'll be the inning on a fielder's choice. Rangers lead 4-2. We're glad to have you along. Now these messages from your local station.
Lynn coverage of Rangers baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines with low fares on every seat of every flight everywhere it flies. Fly Southwest Airlines, celebrating 25 years of love. And by New Miller Beer, the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy.
Back at the ballpark in Arlington, the Rangers are trying for their best record of the year at home. 19 games over 500. And they have 6 outs to get with only a 2-run lead. They're also trying for their best record of the year, period. They've been 17 over before, but if they win tonight, they go 18 over for the year at 70 and 52. So they're hot at the right time. The declared stretch run already by Tom Greer. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's not waiting. He says, get with it. We're stretching it right now.
We're going to stretch it to August 15th.
That's fine. I'm with you on that.
And call it the stretch.
The latest that the Rangers have ever been in first place is August 18th in 1977. That was a real good year. And so they'll be there on August 18th and after. So Johnny Oates has the distinction of being in first place at the latest ever for the Rangers. Johnny's looking pretty relaxed. Got the bubble gum out. Liking John Perkett. And Offerman's upset. Got caught looking at strike 3. 1 away for good one. And let's go around the league for an update. Here's John.
The Mariners have taken the lead in New York. Doug Strange, the former Ranger, with the clutch RBI double to the wall in right center. Ken Griffey scored. Mark Whitten scored, and the Mariners lead it 6-4 in the 8th.
All right, thank you, John Radigan. And the Rangers will be in Seattle for 4 games later on.
I heard some people talking in the press box. I never did confirm it, that John Wetland might have to go on the disabled list.
Oh.
Again, I can't confirm that, but they were talking that way in the press box.
Tom Goodwin, who was hit into a double play on a bunt and bounced to second and to first, is the hitter. The speedster is second in the league in steals at 55. How about Andre Dawson? He has retired after, what, 12 knee operations? So
well, when you look at Andre Dawson's body, if he didn't have the bad knees, he might be able to play like Nolan did till his mid-40s. He's in tremendous shape. Still runs pretty well. Has a good bat.
Now, speaking of Nolan, where is he? He's here tonight. He said he'd stop by. I guess.
I think Nolan was a little bit offended that you didn't invite him up here since opening day.
All right, we're going to have to hog time. We're going to bring him up because he's going to be in town off and on. But he said he had some entertaining to do, he said tonight, that he'd probably stop by. Now we know what that means. See you later, guys. 3-2 pitch, and this is ball 4.
How soon he forgets some of those calls you made while he was pitching. That's right. Yeah.
Johnny Oates is coming to the mound. That may be it. But Andre Dawson retiring after 12 knee operations. I saw him in AAA. Speaking of being fit, you have to stay fit.
Is that Susan Powder?
It has to be.
I thought I saw her eat some nachos last night.
No one else is as animated as that. There is no one that talks like that.
Thought she was eating nachos and a hot dog last inning, though. Maybe not.
Listen to this hand. Standing O for John Burkett. He waves to the fans. 4-2. Help on the way with Cook. We'll be back after this pitching break in just a minute.
Season, and if you have a choir or musical group that would like to participate, you should call now to get your group in for the 30th. I guess you have to audition. That's what I'm trying to say. Do you understand that, Tom?
I understood it.
You call now to get in for the 30th.
The reason we're making the announcement so soon is to get people to sign up now.
She should be in radio or television.
Is that an instant replay?
No.
Or is she still talking? Mike Stanton comes in for the Rangers. Has had hitless appearances in his last 3 outings. He's pitched 6 games for the Rangers and allowed 5 runs on 9 hits and 5 2/3. For the season, 4-3 with a respectable 4.21 ERA. Coming in to face the switch hitting Lockhart and the left-hand hitting Hamlin. Only he's going to see a pinch hitter right here.
And
This is Kevin Young.
Check in at first. So this is Kevin Young. We just got word that Wetland did go on the DL retroactive to the 13th of August. So their stopper is gone in New York. Not that they might need one for a while, but you never know. Kevin Young, the pinch hitter, and he slaps one back. Young has been in 38 games, but only 92 at bats, and obviously Johnny Oates knew that this would be the hitter, and he's liking the lefty Stanton against this right-handed batter matchup. Wetland, by the way, led the American League in saves at 38, and he led the big leagues at 38. So the save leader in the league goes on the DL. I'll tell you, you never know in this game. Brantley leads the nationally, by the way, at 32 of the Reds. You never know, and the key guy is going to go down, and then they don't recover. 125 total pitches for John Burkett, who could be 2-0. And Burkett, if they get out of this inning without a run scoring against him, would have a 1.10 ERA.
I said that Keith Lockhart was a switch hitter. The reason he's been pinch hit for is because he's not a switch hitter. He's a left-hand hitter.
John Burkett trying to go 2-0. An 89-66 in his career. This guy has been a big winner. Young from the right side with 1 out, 1 on. Rangers looking for a double play ball. They got 1 in the first on a bunt, and then they got 1 on a bouncer to third from Sweeney to Palmer in the second. Clark holding.
Stanton was keeping Goodwin close at first base, even though they're down by 2. Speed is part of their game. And with 1 out, just because they're down by 2 doesn't mean that Goodwin won't try to steal second to get into scoring position.
And Bob Boone up now. His team watching for a lot of signs. 55 steals for Goodwin, which is second in the league. He's been thrown out 15 times. They are 3 for 6 in running this year against Pudge Rodriguez.
Kevin Young came up through the Pirate organization. He was a terrific minor league player and a top prospect for the Pirates. Got to the big leagues and never really performed the way they hoped he would. Now he's trying to get another opportunity at the big league level with Kansas City.
High pop-up. This is McLemore, back shattered, and he's got it behind second base. Boy, what happened to that bat?
It's sticking into the ground out near shortstop.
Look at that,
Looks
like a spear.
It's like a javelin.
Look at that. The spike end went like a javelin out there and stuck in. Look at right on the hands.
That's a time when you're glad that bat is not going in your direction.
He didn't drop it at all. He held that handle. So there is the second out. That's a big pinch hit out that Stanton picks up. And now Hamlin, lefty to lefty. Hamlin has struck out, popped to second, and walked. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Big Bob. If the Rangers win this game tonight for Burkett, they'd have 70 wins for the season, and their starters would have 60 of them. And check in at first base. Would you run here? knowing that the tying run is up in this big. I mean, this is the one guy that's probably, well, Paquette behind him too. Probably hit the ball out.
Yeah, you might not hear because of that fact. On the other hand, speed is what's allowed you to have a decent season. And so you have to take advantage of your strong points.
That is your weapon. Maybe get a run here and a run in the ninth, and that ties you up.
The problem is Stanton is keeping them close at first base, and Rodriguez throws so well. So that may change the strategy just a little bit.
Another reason why Johnny Oates, we should mention, would bring in a lefty, because they get the better look and can hold on a little more. Chamberlain bounces one through. Well, if he's at second base, he probably scores there. He's definitely going to be a third. And now the Rangers get into a little bit of a problem.
If this was a tie game, or if Kansas City was ahead, Tim Foley would have waved Goodwin in. Juan went after the ball slowly in right field, and Goodwin can fly. Foley right now is thinking about what he might have done. This is a slowly hit ball to right field. Goodwin is flying right now toward third base. Juan comes in after the ball slowly and throws it to second. If this was earlier in the game, while that ball's going to McLemore, Goodwin's sliding into home plate.
You are absolutely correct to pick that up. Sharp eye. And now Oates is coming out. He does not like the Paquette-Stanton matchup. Tim Foley, as we know, can do some things at third base. Remember the game, he was a Ranger coach. Remember the game earlier in the year where he was standing maybe 25 feet from home plate, and they made him move back, and he argued about it. Man loves the game. He goes full bore trying to get the little edge. They did make him move back, but he was the man who was 25 feet from home plate coaching third. We have another pitching change. 4-2 Texas. Now these messages from your local station. .6:30 this week, just before the Ranger Royal game on channel 39 in Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll see at 7 with the game, and Johnny Oates at 6:30. Talking some baseball. Rangers need out. They need out right now. Jeff Russell is on to face Paquette, who's 1 for 3, and their big homer leader at 17.
Russ has pitched 6 scoreless innings in his last 5 games. He's only given up 2 runs in his last 13 innings. Seen his ERA go from 4.36 down to 3.68. So he's been throwing well for Johnny Oates.
And this will be flagged by McLemore. He got the out barehanded. What a play. The doctor of defense has done it barehanded. That looked like an RBI single. McLemore grabs it with his bare hand, throws to Ellster, and the inning is over. Oh, doctor, this is a fine play. And we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. 4-2 Texas. Well, a good-looking Friday night for the Rangers. They lead 4-2 into the bottom of the 8th inning. The Royals have changed their whole infield here. We'll get to that in just a moment. And Dean Palmer is up. He is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in the 3rd. Haney, the distance at this point with his club down a pair. Well, the Rangers needed everything that they picked up so far. A scramble, but missed a foul ball.
Haney settled down. He's hasn't given up a hit since the 4th inning. There's Kevin Young, the new first baseman.
He's at first. Offerman moves from first to short. And the third baseman is Paquette. And Randa, who is over at third, goes to second. Thank you, Bob Boone. Our cameramen are dizzy at this point, showing you where these guys are, but they got them all. And it's ball 2 and strike 1. There's Bob Boone. Thank you, Bob. That's the Lynn television way. Get them all. We gotten them all. Ball 3 and strike 1. Palmer 2 for his last 15. 27 home runs. Matter of fact, there they are. See how easy it could be. There they are. A whole new infield. Palmer, a looper to right. This is in for a base hit. And in the bottom of the 8th, the Rangers try for some insurance for their 7th consecutive win. Here's our Miller Beer trivia question for the night. What position did Bob Boone play before moving to catcher in 1971? He did not come up as a catcher. In 71, he was moved over. What position was Bob Boone, who then went on, of course, to set all kinds of length of game as a catcher. Later broken by Carlton Fisk, number of games played. He was the all-time leader for a while. 7 Gold Gloves. Major League catcher for 19 years, but he had a different position when he came up. Here is Tettleton, and he bunts. Nice bunt. Mickey won't beat that one out, but Haney has to go to both knees on a scramble to get it. Haney has had some disc problems. I guess it's all healed up now. Yeah, I guess that's one thing you don't really want to do is twist like that and crawl on your knees after a baseball, but he makes a nice play here as Tettleton. How many bunts do you think he has had in his life? Gets a sacrifice.
And a very nice bunt. For someone that doesn't get much practice at it, Mickey does an excellent job with it.
Boy, they'll be scrambling in the record books for that. That is the first sacrifice bunt of the year. This is a very good bunt.
And he almost gets it by the pitcher for a base hit. Haney does a nice recovery job to get the out at first base.
Haney's adios in the bottom of the 8th inning. Looking into the 9th, Tucker, Sweeney, and Damon are due. But a right-hander coming in here. 4-2. Rangers lead 1 out, 1 on 8th inning. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight's ball game at the moment. What has happened? The Rangers lead 4-2 in the 3rd inning. Juan Gonzalez, and this is gone. Number 35 of the year. Number 105 in the RBI column. In the 5th inning, Jose Offerman took a 4-0 game to a 4-2 game on a double down the left field line. Those are the 2 runs this year as a Ranger off Burkett. So they cut the lead in half. The Rangers had led 4-0. The other RBIs tonight off the Gonzalez home run is 105th. Tettleton on a sacrifice fly is 62nd. Buford on a double his 16th, and Kevin Ellster his 80th on a double. 4-2 Texas in the bottom of the 8th.
Keisman's the new pitcher. 0-0, but a nice 2.45 ERA. Opposing hitters are only hitting 192 against him. Worked 3 innings of 2-hit, 1-run relief on Monday to get his first major league save. That was at Seattle. And he's only given up a couple of earned runs in his last 10 1/3. So he's done a nice job in the bullpen.
From Elmhurst, Illinois. I was born there. Yeah. And from your favorite school, Lewis University. This is Daryl Hamilton, who is batting for Buford, and they're immediately going to walk him. So food poisoning or not, here he is not feeling very good, but says he can now play. Buford had a nice night, 2 for 3. Boy, Damon has come off the bat really well for the Rangers. Hamilton's telling the umpire, look, don't eat here. I went over there. Boy, I feel terrible. After the game, don't go here. So Hamilton has been intentionally walked. Palmer is ahead of him at second with 1 out. The Rangers try to get a big lead into the 9th inning. Ranger bullpen is going right now. They have Russell into the game, so who knows? Nolan Ryan signing autographs. Check out his right hand. See, that's why he didn't come up. He's signed up. Look, he's just there, lined up, autograph after autograph. I think since he didn't come up, we should tell him what happened to the hand.
You have to now that everybody watching saw that bad hand. It's a tennis injury.
It's a tennis injury from too much tennis.
But it's related to an old baseball injury.
He has bone chips in a joint. Is that right? And so he may have to have it operated on. Wonder if his autograph will change. What if that would change the way he would sign it?
One thing about Big Tex, though, he'd take that off and pitch if he had to.
He would. His wife probably beat him in tennis, too. He said that wasn't the case.
Would have been if they were playing at the time. He happened to be playing someone else, though.
Someone of less caliber. But he has some bone chips, and he said he woke up the next day, and his wrist was blown up, and so he might have to have some kind of surgery to it. Ball 3, no strike. We'll get him up here shortly. Not on this broadcast, but we'll get him up here before too long.
Heisman hasn't had control problems. He's only walked 5 in almost 15 innings. That's 3 per 9 innings. He's all over the place in the first 3 pitches to Ellster.
Oh, and after an intentional walk, That sometimes happens, and that's rough. Bases are loaded for McLemore. Before you see that, let's see this around the league with an update. Here's John.
A dramatic conclusion in Cleveland. You can't beat this action. Richie Lewis on the mound for Detroit. Sandy Alomar at the plate for the Indians. Alomar went deep. A two-run shot in the bottom of the 12th. 3-1, the dramatic final.
Well, the Rangers will be in that dramatic section of Cleveland. When Monday night, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, they start their road trip in Cleveland. And so they've got a tough trip. Cleveland, Minnesota, and on to Kansas City. And when this series is over, they'll have 38 games left. Lefty in the bullpen, Hakimi, as McLemore will bat against Heisman here with the bases loaded.
Let's get on with that insurance theory.
Yeah. Heisman likes his name pronounced the way that we are pronouncing it. We've double checked with the Royal announcers. 4-2. The Rangers right now lead, and they can bust it open. Mark McLemore takes a strike. Mac has walked, had an infield hit, bounced to third, and bounced to the mound when he was bunting again. He's bunted twice in the game. Right now, though, he's got Palmer, a slow runner, at third. Hamilton is at second and Ellster at first. Bases are loaded. The corners are tight. 4-2. Rangers try to bust it open. Bottom of the 8th inning. Heisman to McLemore, and it gets by. They hold it third as he knocks it down toward the mound. It's a nice job by the young catcher as he keeps the ball in front of him and basically saves the run. Boy, if they catch up and the Rangers don't score in this inning, this is why.
That ball bounced way out in front of him. It looked like he got it with his knee, maybe his glove. And luckily, when it kicks way up in the air, it ricocheted off his chest and stayed out in front of him. See those go off to the right or left a number of different times, but they got a good bounce with that one. Palmer had to stay at third.
1-1. And a bouncer through. Oh, Offerman, a great play to second one. The throw to first is not in time. What a tremendous play by the Royals, though. Offerman, brilliant. Offerman at shortstop, and the throw to Young at first. A tremendous stretch. They almost did it. But a run is home the hard way, but give the Royals a lot of credit. This will be a base hit. Look at Offerman.
Offerman shovels it right out of his glove. And Mac just beats it at first. And look at that. That's the Mickey Pendleton stretch.
You've got to appreciate the Royals on that one, and you have to appreciate McLemore's hustle. This is a great baseball play. Look at McLemore going for the bag. A tremendous play by Offerman. And what a play by Young at first base. Boy, that is big league baseball right there. It is a fielder's choice. They just missed the inning-ending double play. That is worth the price of admission right there, I would think. Rodriguez, strike one on a foul ball. Check this play.
Well, Offerman goes from first base to shortstop and makes a beautiful play. And then Randa has gone from third base to second and turns it at second. And then Kevin Young, just in the game, goes all the way down with a big league stretch.
Doesn't that hurt?
And they still couldn't get Mac at first base.
Tom, doesn't that hurt?
Boy, it hurt just looking at it. That's Mickey Pendleton. He tried it once early in the year.
Oh, my. Now the Rangers lead 5-2, so they get Palmer home. There are two out. The crowd definitely into this one. That was some kind of baseball. Hamilton is at third. And McLemore is at first. Pudge 1 for 4 tonight. That was an amazing play.
There's been some nice plays tonight. The Rangers had the double play in the first inning on the bunt. Rodriguez with a great play to first. Clark with a throw to third to get Offerman trying to go from first to third on the bunt. And then the next inning, the Rangers turned a nice double play. Palmer to McLemore and to Clark all the way around the horn. There's been some nice defense tonight.
There aren't many shortstops that can do what Offerman just did.
That's a good play. That's the kind of a do-or-die play. You dive, hope you come up with it, He didn't have time to take it out of his glove with his bare hand, and he just shoveled it to the second baseman.
That's why they liked him at short. I mean, he's spectacular, but he doesn't always catch things hit right at him, and his arm's a bit erratic, but you can see why they do like him at shortstop at times. Oh, brother. They check in on McLemore, and they almost threw that away. Offerman, one of those Dominican Republic shortstops from San Padre de Macorís. And there have been great ones from that place. 1-1 the count. Ball 2 and strike 1. Runners at first and third. The Rangers lead 5-2. They are trying for a 7-game winning streak. They need to win to match Seattle. The Mariners have won in New York 6-5. To keep a 7-game lead. And there are 40 games to play after tonight.
You want to walk Pudge. The Red Baron likes to hit with those bases loaded.
Yes, he does. The big numbers with them loaded are next. He's starting to get that helmet pretty well tacked up. 3-1 the count. Heisman needs a strike, and Rodriguez knows it. They check to third, spin to first, and no one's wandering. And the crowd in a hurry says you're taking up time. Bottom of the 8th inning, 5-2 Texas. Little pennant fever in the Metroplex. And throughout Texas. Arkansas, Louisiana, a little bit in New Mexico. At Oklahoma. And they are excited for Rusty Greer with the bases loaded. Well, he has walked 3 out of 4, one of them intentionally, but the Rangers have them all loaded, and Mr. Bases Loaded comes up. Rusty has singled in the first, bounced to short, fly to left, and bounced to first. He's 1 for 4 tonight. And now hitting at .326, and there's going to be a new pitcher to face him. Bob Boone is going out, and the left-hander will be coming in. So Jason Hakami, the left-hander, former Met, will be on to face Greer. The bases are loaded at the ballpark. We'll be back right after these messages.
Big moment for Rusty Greer. Bases are loaded. Before we get to that, our Miller trivia question: what position did Bob Boone play before moving to catcher in 1971? You venturing a guess here?
Third base, I would guess.
Good guess, though. Very and timely. very timely. Third base. A lot of guys go from the catching position to third or first because the knees are worn, but Boone, 19 years as a major league catcher, 7 Gold Gloves, played for the Phillies for 9, the Angels for 7, the Royals for 3, retired in 1990, Stanford University, and with this club he may need his major. He was a psych major.
Jason Hakami is the new pitcher. His ERA is .450 on the season, but he's pitched pretty well for a long time. He's only given up 5 earned runs in his last 25 innings, 18 strikeouts. So he's been doing a good job over the last probably month and a half for Bob Boone. His job is to come in as a lefty and get Rusty Greer out with the bases loaded. Tries a curveball way up for ball 1.
5-2 Texas, bottom of the 8th inning, over 32,000, and you want to look at this. 3 slams with bases loaded in his career, hitting .467. The young Mr. Greer. And he's at strike 1. 1-1 the count. Lodged in the number 3 spot. 14 home runs, 83 runs batted in. He was the 10th highest hitter average-wise in the American League when the game started. Offerman, and this time it won't happen. A flare to Offerman. He was catching about everything hit out that way, and that will be the inning. Not hit hard, but one insurance run. We head to the ninth, 5-2 Texas. This is the Lynn Rangers Television Network. Well, our next television game will be against the Royals tomorrow night. Channel 5 again in Dallas-Fort Worth, and then all across the Lynn Rangers Television Network, as the Rangers may be going for their 8th consecutive win. And the matchup tomorrow night, Ken Hill at 13-6 against Tim Belcher at 11-7. Sunday will also be back. Darren Oliver against Kevin Apier. So Channel 5 tomorrow night and Channel 39 on Sunday. Daryl Hamilton, who hit, is now in center field. He's, I guess, a bit over the food poisoning tonight. And here is Mike Henneman again, Tom.
Well, Mike Henneman has saves in his last 3 appearances. He hasn't allowed a hit in his last 3 outings. He's pitched 6 1/3 scoreless innings in his last 8 games, and he saved 25 out of 31. Nice to have Mike back in shape.
You know,
3 for 3 in his last three outings.
Something that the folks might not know is that his career high save is 26. So if he gets a save in this game, and if he finishes, he will 3-run lead, and if he goes for the full inning, he's got another save. He would match a career high on August 16th. He was used as a long man with the Tigers, so most of the time, he pitched 2-3 innings for a save. But here as a short man, they mount up a bit faster, but he could match a career high in saves with one tonight. Tucker's the hitter. He's walked, popped to short, and popped to short.
And a lot of those Tiger teams didn't win 80 or 90 games, so
that's right.
He didn't get the same amount of opportunities.
You know, that's a very good point, because if your team doesn't win,
you can't save.
You can't save.
Well, it's such a
sometimes the fundamentals go over everybody, like me.
High visible job that when you don't come in and save a game, everybody knows it.
That's a good point.
And you really take a lot of grief when you don't save a game. And when you come in and save a game like this, everybody expects you to do it. So you don't get a pat on the back quite as often. And so it's a tough job. 25 out of 31 is not a terrible percentage.
Mr. Oates.
And it also puts him, I think, Mark, 4th in the league in saves. So,
yes.
You know, what sounds to some people like a terrible season, and when you're 0-7, it might look that way if you just look at the 1-loss record. But overall, Mike Henneman has been a big part of the Rangers' success this year.
Well, he has. The problem was he got into a stretch there where he was giving them up back to back to back, and everything got blown out of shape. But, I mean, he went through a stretch that was terrible, and it blew up on him. Of course, he doesn't quite have the save yet here tonight. Dick Bosman looking on, ball 3 and strike 2. And a foul back. Five to 2, the Rangers are leading. 32,000 looking on, and Henneman trying to save it for John Burkett, who has a 1.10 ERA. He's given up 2 runs in 16 1/3. 3-2 and another foul. The Royals again have been a 500 club on the road. This would put them under 500 for the year. They have the top 2 bunters in the league to move people over. They also have the 2 hardest guys to double up in the league, Goodwin and Damon. So this is a speed merchant bunt and run team. 3-2. Line to center. Hamilton coming on. He goes for it, and the ball gets by him. He went for a dive, and this man can fly. Tucker to second. He's on his way to third. This is going to be an inside the park home run. The Rangers have no chance for him. Inside the park home run on a ball that bounced by Hamilton diving in center. And the 1 run the Rangers picked up in the bottom of the 8th is neutralized. Boy, can these guys run. Hamilton gambled with a 3-run lead, and he didn't trap it. And the ball goes under his glove for an inside the park home run.
Well, there's a play you don't see very often in baseball, but it's a pretty play to watch. It's a nice try by Hamilton, but once the ball gets by him and rolls to the fence, not much chance to get Michael Tucker. He can really run, and he smells that home run, and there's no play at the plate.
Well, you're gassed after doing that. He was going strong, wasn't he? Here's Sweeney. No error. You go for the ball, and once it hops by on a dive, you really don't have a chance to trap the ball. Hamilton's still without an error, but that man needs some water. So now it is 5-3. That is the first inside the park home run ever hit in this ballpark. Michael Tucker, his 11th home run, his 49th run batted in, and the Royals' 92nd home run of the year. He is breathing.
He's breathing a little heavy.
Whoa. One of the papers ran a humidity index today, and it's not really hot today, but that'll catch up to you doing that. So now the Rangers still have 3 outs to go, and this is Sweeney. And Henneman still needs 3 to go here. Rangers did get Vosberg up just in case in the bullpen. There is the split finger, and that is a strike he couldn't hold, and it's 2-2. Well, watch the speed of this Royal club. Look at Tucker. This is regular speed. This is not extra fast at all, and my goodness, they can motor. 2-2 the count. Sweeney 1 for 3. And he struck him out. Nice pitch. He had them all jammed up inside. So inside the park home run and a strikeout swinging. Let's go around the league for an update. Once again, John Radigan.
The Yankees didn't go down without a fight, but they did go down. Mike Jackson relieved Norm Charlton in the bottom of the 9th and got Cecil Fielder swinging to end the game. He gets the save. The Mariners get the win 6-5 the final.
Back to live action here. The Pinellas come out of a losing streak of 8 out of 9. So the Rangers need a win to stay 7 in front with 40 to play. Damon 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Another speed merchant. And Henneman's got him at 0-2. Johnny Damon. And a foul back. They just announced the last inside the park home run in Arlington.
Lou Whitaker.
Lou Whitaker back in the 80s, the early 80s.
Was that the one that was to right field that Gary Ward went into the fence on?
I believe it was at the old Arlington Stadium. I'm trying to recall that right now. There is Michael Tucker, who hit an inside the park home run and needs a breather.
The last one against the Rangers was last year in Toronto by Paul Molitor.
Remember, Ruben Sierra had 2 in Kansas City in the same series. 0-2. And he struck him out. 1 more to go. An inside the park home run, but back-to-back swinging Ks, and up comes Randa. And the Rangers are 1 out away from going to their best record of the year at 70-52. Best of the year at 18 over. Best at home 19 over.
And some good stuff by Mike Henneman. The inside the park homer could have been a single if Daryl played it safely, but he went after it, gave it a great shot. But after that, Sweeney and Damon have seen some excellent pitches, good tailing fastballs, and good movement on the split finger pitch. Nice to see Mike back.
Right now it is best of show for the Rangers. Randa with a strikeout looking and a bounce to short. 32,053, and they like this one. Rangers trying for his 7-game win streak. 0-1. Henneman to Randa. Just missed. 1-1. Well, these folks are getting hot at the right time. Big night for Ellster. A double on his 80th run batted in. Mark McLemore with some great defense. He had a barehanded catch up the middle. That is still one of the great plays of the game. He caught a ball up the middle in his bare hand and threw it to second when it looked like it was a sure RBI. Will Clark says, let's get rolling. I'm back. We're going to play. Pledge Rodriguez, Mr. All-Star, Dean Palmer, trying to greet win number 70 and 18 over. This club is together and feeling pretty good. And a deep drive to left that is hooking at the pole, and it is way foul. 5-3. Henneman still has to get one more. Damon Buford, what a night he had. Wasn't supposed to start. He had a single, a double. He played some fine center field. Coming off the bench, a key man. Crowd standing again. This is a 1-2 pitch. And hello, win column. This one goes to Texas again. 70 and 52. Henneman gets the save, and the Rangers stay by 7. Ranger pitching has given up 9 runs in the last 53 innings. The Hoover player of the game is Damon Buford off the bench with a big start tonight, a key hit. Henneman matches his career high in saves, and the Rangers roll on. Their best record of the year at 18 over. They don't make an error, so they're now at 12 straight errorless games. The final is 5-3 Texas. We'll look at the totals when we come back right after this.
Seat of every flight everywhere it flies. Fly Southwest Airlines, celebrating 25 years of love. By your North Texas Coca-Cola bottler, official sponsor of the Texas Rangers. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy.
Well, here are the happy game totals again at the ballpark in Arlington. The Rangers put together 5 runs on 10 hits, no errors, and they leave 9. The Royals 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, and they leave 6. John Burkett now has a 1.10 ERA and a total of 16 1/3. He's the winner at 2-0. Mike Henneman ties a career high in saves at 26. Haney is the loser at 9 and 11. Gonzalez goes deep, and Tucker goes inside the park. And Tom, this team rolls on to their 7th consecutive win.
Well, they continue to do it with excellent pitching, both starting and relief, playing solid defense, 12 straight games without an error, and timely hitting. Doesn't get much better than that.
And we'll try to do it again tomorrow night, 7:30 on Channel 5 in the Metroplex and all across the Lynn Ranger Television Network. The Rangers at 18 games over 500, first place by 7. The executive in charge of Lynn Productions is Lee Speakerman. Tonight's game produced by Paul McConnell. It was directed by Clay Armstrong. Our technical director was Keith O'Neill, and the associate producers are Carla McMurray and Gina Atchison. Texas Rangers Baseball is a presentation of Lynn Productions.